first question. When you're traveling a full day on the road with your dogs, how often do you stop to air them out and water your dogs? Let's call it a 12-hour drive, just for clarification.
Yeah.
You got a 12-hour drive.
Probably 12-hour drive at least 3 times.
3?
Yeah. Because you can probably, we usually go like with a pickup 3.5-ish, 4-ish hours on a tank of gas. So that's usually like when you're going to stop at a gas station. And then, of course, it depends on, is it super cold out or is it hot? You know, if it's super cold and they're nice and warm in the kennel, you know, all locked up with insulation and stuff, we'll just, you know, we'll leave them in there because they're better off just staying in there being warm. But if it's hot out, you know, and muggy or whatever, let them get out and air them out real quick. Yeah. Give them some water, especially if it's warm.
Heather, are you in charge of that at all? Do you have?
No, actually, he's much nicer to them than I am. I'm always
I ask all the time.
They're fine. They're fine. I mean, they're kenneled for a minimum 8 hours a day, and I do come home from work and let them out. But
right. But if you didn't come home,
they're comfortable.
They'd still be sleeping in the same position when
they
you
were in a kennel for 12 hours yesterday without being let out. Right. But it's also a little bit bigger of a kennel. It's not hot in there, you know. So just
I would probably air more on like a 6-hour. But he does start asking at 3.5 to 4 hours.
Yeah. Ted, how about you?
I pretty much leave them in there until I stop at a place that is where I can let them out. Because I usually don't put my dogs on leashes. I just put their collars on.
Yeah.
And they're not pointing dogs, so they don't.
They're flushing off.
They don't take running. Yeah. So, if we stop somewhere or if I know they're being restless.
So are they riding in the back of a pickup or?
Yeah, they ride in the back of a pickup. I mean, depending on what we're doing, sometimes one will be in the cab of the truck, but with 2 kids and my wife and stuff.
Yeah.
But usually, like they said, the dogs can hold it and be comfortable for 8 hours, while you're at work or doing something else. So as long as I'll check on them every time we fill up with gas.
Yeah.
And if they're not like,
I'll
just be like, okay, just stay in there. Because usually I have to climb over stuff to get the dogs out.
Right, it's a lot of shit. It's a lot of shit to do. It sounds fair, like, oh, we love these dogs. Boy, it's really inconvenient to do this because you got coolers in the way and everything. Scott, you've traveled around a bunch with yours.
I would say in a 12-hour day, at least one stop I'd let them out, maybe twice. And I think the key for me is before I go, I mean, they would definitely all use, go to the bathroom before I left.
You'd make sure of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I sort of train for, right? Is if I tell the dog to go to the bathroom, they go.
Well, that's a good point. Like, I thought I had that control over a lot of my dogs. So it's all right. Some people say, go potty, or hurry, right?
Yeah.
And like with that little Cocker Spaniel, I've driven her from here to Virginia 3 times. I've never seen her pee. I'll let her out. She runs around like a little maniac. And I'm like, go potty, nothing.
Yeah.
But my older dogs, you could almost tell it to them.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay. And they'll go find a place to lift their leg or something.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, if they have to go, they'll let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of read them.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I put that question up was people do ask. And I put in parentheses, do you have any tips? One tip I have is when I'm driving down the highway, I tend to look at when you're coming up to an interchange, if I see something with a frontage road in an industrial complex with like a big lawn, then I'm like, oh, I don't want to put leashes on the dogs and walk them.
Right.
Like it just looks like desolate, or especially a weekend. Do you let your dogs go off leash then?
Yeah, I never have my dogs on a leash.
Right.
So they're always off leash. But to your point, I'm only going to stop in an area where, I can
where it feels really good.
Yeah, where it feels good.
You're not going to stop at a gas station where you got 2 feet of grass, and try to get that done. Yeah. All right. So any other tips when you're as far as like airing your dogs out or?
Well, if there's 2 of us driving, I usually have her or she'll have me, and we'll get on X and look for like state game areas or something that are close to the highway, and use those for off leash runways. But also, if you're trying to stop at a gas station, get gas, get food or snacks or all that stuff, Love's gas stations always have a fenced-in dog area.
Oh, I have seen that.
Yeah.
We'll look for gas stations that have bigger grass areas, but
Just
I'm
like
always
you're saying.
hesitant for off leash, even if it doesn't back up to something just because there tends to be a lot of trash back there. And
Right.
They like to get
coming
into
from
it.
where I come from, you don't know what's in there.
Yeah.
Needles,
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
yeah.
really say that,
condoms,
but
things
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't let my dogs go off leash in Detroit.
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
Yeah,
know,
depending on where you're at.
You said I do the same thing. I always feel like they'll run a little quicker and get it done if I let when I walk them on a leash. They're always like pulling and it bit me in the butt one time when I lost 2 dogs for 3 hours in Ohio.
Yeah.
That would suck.
But that was that female that went off, and I'll never forget. I said to Bravo, I said, "Bro, get over here!" And he looked over his shoulder. He's like, "She went that way." And 3 hours later, those dogs came back. Yeah. Okay, now back to traveling. Do you alter your dog's feeding schedule when you travel?
No. They eat once in the morning and at night. I'm sorry.
They eat once at night?
Yeah, once at night. Yeah, once at night and that's it.
And that's the same schedule
Yeah.
year round at home?
Yeah.
Once
we
a day?
switched to that eventually. Yeah.
Did you used to do twice?
We
Yeah,
did
and
it.
it's a pain.
Wasn't worth it.
No.
Once we started taking the hunting trips,
Right.
you realize it's not.
It's just not worth it.
No, when you're traveling, they don't like to fiddle with food and water a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So when you stop, you feel like you need to stop, feed them, give them water. They don't.
Yeah,
They want
just
nothing to do
stick
with
to
it.
them. And by nighttime, call it nighttime. You're stopped anyway, so
Yeah.
Right.
you can dedicate the time.
Mm-hmm.
Ted, what do you do feeding dogs?
I only feed once a day like them at night. I do it for a different reason because I go train every day with the dogs and I'm afraid their stomachs will flip
Yeah.
over.
Sure.
So, yeah, I don't change it at all because like them, I just feed at night. So
Right.
when we get there, they get fed and they go to bed.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just like little
You
kids.
don't want dogs running
Only
on
better.
their stomach.
Yeah.
How about you, Scott?
I do a little different. I feed twice a day, but during hunting season, I feed different, right? I feed, it's a small portion of canned dog food,
Oh, you go to soft canned dog food.
only in the morning.
Okay.
And I don't feed them a full ration. I feed them a little bit.
Yeah.
And they have probably I feed them 5 o'clock in the morning. Say they're going to start hunting at 8, right?
Right.
I think that gives them a little more. It gives them a little something.
Little something in for the gas tank.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So even on a long road trip, would you feed them in the morning before you leave
I
home?
would, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feed twice a day, and it's probably just because I'm out here twice a day. And come hunting season, I end up feeding them once a day for that same. Nobody can tell you why a dog's stomach flips or bloat, but they always say you can imagine going on a full portion of food.
Right.
It's no way to go. No more than we'd want to go after eating Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
Go out and take a jog. But I don't feed my dogs at all. Like if I'm leaving on a Friday, Thursday night's their last meal. And they're not going to eat until I'm arrived where I'm going to arrive. Because they could skip a meal. It doesn't hurt them to skip a meal. So I don't take the time in the morning to make sure they've gone. I just figure that if I fed them at 5 o'clock at night and I let them out twice and let them out running in the area before I load them in the truck, I know they're pretty regular and they probably have pooped. And when I put them in the truck, even if it extends past a day, if I was going to do a day and a half drive, they still don't get any food until I get to where I'm going. Because I think it's just easier than thinking about it,
So you're feeding twice a day right now in the off season.
Right.
When you get to hunting season, do you take those 2 portions and add them together at night then?
I do, but they wouldn't get the equivalent. Like if they got 4 cups a day, 2 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
they're probably going to get 3 cups and then just a smidgen more and just a smidgen more. Like I don't use any scientific measuring. I just look at my cup that I use, same cup. Okay. And a little more.
Mhm.
And
Like if they're running really hard, you give
Right.
them a little more.
but then, and then at night, I would say literally by the end of the first hunting trip, they're having their full food at night. And with that, on the same subject, do you add water to your guys' food at home or on the road?
Yeah, when we're hunting for sure.
Right.
At home, not so much because they're free in the house.
They got
There's-
water all the time.
Yeah, it's an
Yep.
automatic filling water bowl. They know right where it's at. But on road trips when they're in a kennel, not access to water all the time, and they're obviously running hard, definitely float it at night. 100%. And we'll even put some of your like hydrant recover, right, for dogs.
Or even that in there. Even the Canine Pro.
The canine stuff
for their stomach.
Yeah.
Do you float food?
I haven't, but I've kind of started with this litter of puppies floating food for the younger dogs, just because they'll eat it quicker, or not quicker, but
kind of makes its own gravy.
Yeah. Kind of like the gruel. And I might carry that over to this hunting season just from reading about it and the benefits of it.
Yeah.
But in the past, I have not.
Yeah. How about you, Scott?
Absolutely, during hunting season, I float their food.
Just do you? And this I should have asked it first. When I have access to warm water, I use warm water because it really.
I use scalding hot water,
and then just let it sit for a while.
Let it sit for a minute or two. Yeah,
and then it really, it breaks down fast. It gets mushy fast. It's got to be, from what I've heard two people talk about it, at least professionals. One is, it certainly gives them. Let's just say you forgot to have water out for them, or one of them didn't get time to drink. They're not going to use their internal
reserves eating and
to die, because they need to bring that water out of their muscle tissue to make that food soft, because God knows, kibble's as dry as a popcorn fart. So I think everybody agree. Well, you're coming on board with it.
I'm coming on board.
And I started doing it probably, I don't know, first time I heard about it 7-8 years ago. And I always feel like really good in a motel, in a Red Roof Inn, where you can bring all your dogs in and trash the place. I'll do the same thing. I'll get that super hot water and I'll make them, and I flip it, and I get it real. I mean, you look at it, it kind of looks like brown gravy in there. And I've never seen a dog.
I think they like it even more.
I've never seen a dog not want it.
Yeah. Especially if you got a picky dog.
I have a dog that if you take on a hunting trip, won't eat for the first couple days. He's so jacked up that he's just nah. He's like, or if a dog's in heat, he's like, nah.
It's just
until he gets real
dogs
hungry.
In heat. I've seen that happen where the male
my male, I registered him to fly in airplanes. We went on a snow goose hunt in North Dakota. He didn't eat for 3 days, and he was retrieving like 50 to 100 birds a day. He was just so jacked.
Did he look like he was a skeleton when he was done?
He's just a big dog. I mean, no, he just
sounds like he could have used to lose a few pounds, maybe.
Oh no, you can ask Matt. All my dogs are very
can feel the ribs. Yeah,
but like I would put like eggs and everything on it. He's like, no. He's like, let's just go.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a fussy eater on the road, Scott?
No, I've never really had maybe that cur dog a little bit, but I mean.
Yeah, my friend Jeff, when we first started going out west, he had a dog that wouldn't eat for the first 2-3 days, and to the point that he'd even buy gravy from the grocery store, and the dog would maybe lick the gravy off the dog food and still ignore the dog food. And then we just kind of learned, like, you know what?
He's not going to kill himself.
As long as they're drinking water, which when they're drinking water, they're fine without eating for a few days. They really, and in fact, anytime they're sick, you don't want to feed them on their stomach.
But like you said too, I give them electrolyte during hunting season.
Yeah,
they get electrolytes every feeding.
Yeah, in their water, and their food.
And their food, I think it makes a big difference. I mean, if that dog's on the ground for 6 hours, I mean,
just like a human.
Yeah, just like us drinking Gatorade.
It's not like us taking a walk for 6 hours. It's like us trying to jog for 6 hours. That's a lot of work.
Sprint.
I give them supplements every day. Just that. Stuff that I mix in their food every day, but then I also put the electrolytes in it during the hunting season.
Well, you use a lot of the hydrate. You're more religious about it than I do, because your dogs actually hunt hard.
Yeah, they run hard.
You put the
and everybody always asks me, they're like, "Does it make a difference? Does it make a difference?" I'm like, "Well, it's not magic. Like, I don't put it in their water and like all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, they can run for another hour." It's just like, when you're hot and thirsty and like, does a Gatorade taste good? Does it feel good?
Right.
There's scientists.
Do you retain water better?
Yeah. There's scientists that are doing tests, like saying what we need in our bodies. The same for the dogs. Like if it's good for us to drink electrolytes and, supplement, then I guess it should be good for them. They can't talk. They can't tell me they feel better, but I feel better about supplementing them, especially in early season North Dakota, September, 70 degrees plus every single day.
Yeah.
That makes I feel a lot better. And it's one water bottle that's mixed and it's one water bottle that's not, because I don't want to like force too much in it. I think it even says on like that canine stuff to like mix in some fresh water with it.
Right.
Like you don't want them just purely drinking like the electrolyte
Of
stuff.
the 4 bottles we carry, only one.
We'll have the
Right.
Yeah.
The
and
juice
the rest
in
will
it.
be regular.
Can you say it?
Like and subscribe.
No, please like and subscribe. Say it. Please like
Subscribe.
and subscribe. Well, that's not bad. Please like and subscribe.